Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I took a break from TFT, and when I came back, I realized that everybody was basically abusing Katerina with Ionic Spark, which made it a pain to climb and almost made me want to take another break. But I started playing this comp because it counters assassins, and it's just a good comp in general for this meta with everybody abusing. So yeah, I'll list out the reasons and walk you through my decisions in this game. Also, sorry if I keep pausing because I'm still really sick and it's really hard to even get through a full sentence without feeling like I'm losing my voice or I need to cough. So yeah, just bear with me and let's get into it. So on the first carousel, I grabbed a sword. Sword is really good for this comp because Jin, obviously he's AD, and you can use a sword for other things as well. However, if the first carousel wasn't all offensive like the one in this game, I would recommend you grab either a vest, a belt, or a cloak because Jin's items are really not important. What you need to prioritize are the tank items. So think of Jin like he's Kale from set 5. He takes a long time to cast, so you need to buy him time in order for him to cast, or like for Kale last set, in order for her to ascend. And to do that, you need to make your front line super tanky, right? So every carousel you should be grabbing a tank item, something like I mentioned, belt, vest, or cloak. And if you can't, then go for swords and bows and gloves for Jin, I suppose. And then any other extra items like tears and rods, you're gonna put those on MF. Also, I really enjoy playing Jin because he is extremely flexible. You can play him with innovators, also known as Genovators for that comp. You can play him with bodyguards, which is like, I guess, the normal version that I see most often. You can also play him with bruisers, which is what I prefer the most. Or you can also play him with socialites. If the socialite hex is in a good spot for him, and if you got an augment for the socialite thing, an extra socialite. But yeah, you can play him in all different ways. It just depends on the augments you get and what's best for your lobby. So in the current meta with everybody abusing Katerina with Ionic Spark, I like to play Jin with a bruiser frontline because Zac is a bruiser and his ability is he grabs two people that are far from him and knocks them up. So what that means is whenever assassins jump to your backline, he can peel for them. And with a bruiser frontline, you'll probably have Tom Kench as well. If you are able to put any tiers on him, like making a blue buff or archangels, he will eat one of the assassins if you put him in the backline. I've played Jin with bodyguards, and that's okay too. Um, Braum provides a lot of CC with his knockup, but that doesn't always hit everybody because the assassins are like jumping around, like, you know, Katarina, Akali. So I do prefer Zac because he does grab them and CC them usually because they're usually jumping to the farthest targets. I'm not really quite sure how their targeting works, but I usually see Zac CC them. If you're playing Jin with bodyguards, then you can try backlining Braum so that his knockup will hit the assassins, but that's pretty much the only CC you have with the bodyguard frontline, and also you have CC with Blitzcrank, except he's not gonna pull any assassins because assassins jump before they can be pulled, so that CC is kind of just useless against assassins. That's why I just prefer playing Jhin with bruisers. And also, if your backline dies and all you have left are your tanky bodyguards, that's not really gonna do anything, because unless you have like a Sunfire on your bodyguards, they're just gonna stay alive until the assassins kill them slowly. But with bruisers, you have like Tom Kench, Trundle, Vi. They do some decent damage if your backline does end up dying anyway. So it's just a good counter to Katerina's sins in this meta. Another thing that I like to do when I play Jhin is, if I have extra vests, I like to build a GA on him, because like I said before, he's just like Kale from set 5. You just need him to stay alive until he can cast, and then he'll just destroy the whole board. Um, so yeah, just like set 5, with Assassins and Kale, you just need to put GA on her. And same thing on Jhin, if you put a GA on him, it'll guarantee that he at least casts. But it's not as important as it was on Kale. If you position correctly and everything with bruisers and Zac and stuff like that, peeling for him, Jin's items are not a priority. So prioritize your tank items so that they can stay alive long enough for him to do his thing. On this carousel, all the defensive items were taken, so I just went with a Ra to finish a death cap on MF, because I don't really need to itemize anybody else right now. I could have gone with a sword or a glove or bow for Jhin, but the thing is with this comp, MF is really your carry until you get to level 8. If you're playing like a sniper, mid and early board, if not, then you can have anybody hold items. Like, I've played this comp with mid-game challengers, with Samira holding Jin's items and then Camille holding AP items for MF, or any tank items on Camille that I would later move over to like bodyguards or bruisers. So yeah, it just depends on what you get early game. I was getting MF and Caitlyn this game, so I just played it very easy. Don't need to pivot that hard. There are other games where I do have to do like a full pivot from like Arcanus or something. Like Syndicates, I would use like a TF 2 star if I got him early to hold my MF items, and yeah, basically outplay TF until I get MF. Um, so yeah, it just depends on what 2 stars you get early. Just play your strongest board, because you need to be pretty healthy in order to get Jins later on. So yeah, mid game is pretty important for this comp. And here I'm on a 3-win streak, so I just decided to level and put in enforcers and buy up the Caitlyn's, because I wanted to keep my streak. This game I had a sniper opener, but other games you might have like a TF or something, and then just play TF with AP items until you can get MF. And then in other cases, if you have like Ezreal Innovator openers, you can just put Gen items on Ezreal, or even AP items. It really doesn't matter. So yeah, just early game, play your strongest board until you get to level 7, or whenever you get MF. And then at 7, you want to roll until you get an MF2 and 2-star frontline, so that you can be stable enough to go 8 and get Jins. If you're not healthy enough at that point for some reason, because you weren't playing your strongest board, you were trying to force like a sniper early and mid board, then you're gonna have to roll a lot at 7 and play for a 3-star MF as your win condition. If you're in a position where you kind of have to do that, you'll probably hit a Jin naturally on 7, or you might even naturally Jin 2 if you get lucky. So yeah, rolling at 7 is not bad at all, especially because you can hit like Leonas and MFs, and that can be like your mid board, or you can hit Zax and play that bruiser frontline I was talking about. If your board is weak, is full of 1 stars, you need to be rolling at 7 to get a good mid game, or else you are gonna bleed out a lot until you're able to get to 8 and get Jhin. So yeah, your MF should be upgraded, your frontline should be upgraded at the very least. I'll roll to 30 gold per turn when I'm 7 in order to stabilize, or if I'm really really weak, then I'll roll to 10 gold even. But yeah, just rolling at 7 is very important in order to preserve your HP to get Jins later. Also, I can't stress this enough, but do not prioritize Jin's items. You are gonna naturally get a few swords, a few bows, and gloves. Um, you really don't need to get these extra things on the carousel to guarantee like best in slot, because if you do that, you might get screwed over during the minion rounds with no defensive items, and then your tanks are just gonna die super quickly. That's happened to me so many times, and I've definitely learned my lesson. Um, for playing this comp, you do not need best in slot at all. You can just like throw random items left over on Jhin, and then on stage 5, the carousel, you can get Jin's last item from there. And also remember to itemize MF at least 2 items, because she is your other carry in this comp, and she does serious work. Like you can see in these rounds, she is just killing it at 1 star. So do not sleep on MF, and just completely tunnel on Jhin and his best in slot items, because you are not gonna have a good time mid game if you do that. So here for augments, I just chose phony frontline because I saw Socialite was in the front row, so that's not gonna do shit for me. And more frontline is always good for Jhin for obvious reasons. So, alright, and you see me holding these Caitlyn's because I just keep getting them in my shop. I wasn't holding them at first, but they just kept popping up. So, if I get a if I somehow get a 3-star Caitlyn, then I'm just gonna keep her. She also gives Enforcer with buy, so that's another reason why I like Bruiser frontline with Jhin. There's just so many benefits with Vi, Tom Kench just being able to deal with assassins, Zac dealing with assassins. Also, 2-star Mundo is completely busted if you put tank items on him. If you've noticed in a lot of rounds, the last unit standing is literally like Leona versus a Mundo or something like that. A lot of the times late game, that unit is an absolute beast. So if you're rolling and you see a Mundo in your shop at level 7, definitely pick him up because he will tank for days. That unit just does not die. For this round, I put in a 2-star Kog'Maw even though I'm already at 2 sniper. I could have put in something else, but he's a free 2-star unit that I got. And if you just hold pairs or like hold random units that don't hurt your econ, then you're able to hit 2 stars pretty easily, and you'll never have to roll unless you really really need to. So that's what I mean by having a good early and mid game. You just have to have these habits in TFT, um, just like holding units, stuff like that, whenever you can. Because I see a lot of people trying to force a certain opener, like people forcing innovators opening and stuff like that, or syndicates. That's why you see like in the early rounds, even in like Diamond Masters, I see people playing like this where they try to force certain openers, or they don't hold pairs because they're like adamant they need to play a certain opener, or they always tell me like, why do I need to buy this, it's not going in my comp. But it's just dumb, because if you have a pair and you have a free 2-star, why would you not play it, regardless of whether it synergizes with your current board or not? So yeah, it's just something in TFT, I guess, you have to keep in mind. Like, you don't need to play for synergies all the time. Your strongest board can just be a board full of 2 stars, because if you just play for synergies, like I see some of these boards that I was facing earlier, it's just like all synergies and all 1 stars. They end up playing these dogshit boards and then lose 30 something HP by the end of stage 2, and it's just not the way to play, especially if you're playing a comp like Jin and you need to find him at level 8. If you lose 30 something HP early for no good reason, before the game even starts really, then I mean, there's just no point in playing. Like, half your HP is already gone, almost half of it. And you're only gonna lose more and more HP every round from that point on, every time you lose. And then these same people will come crying, saying, oh, I just got more dogged, or I just low rolled, or something like that. But it's just like, you just need to know to hold stuff when it doesn't hurt econ, and like play your 2 stars, play your strongest board, instead of like playing whatever you think goes in the comp only, and then rolling past everybody else. That's like one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make in every elo. And the second biggest mistake that I think I see people make the most is focusing on best in slot. Um, like right now, you can see Twitch chat on my screen. Somebody's trying to tell me that I can't really play Jin because the items are scuffed or whatever. But like I said, Jin's items are not important. You need to just focus on your mid game to be able to get to the point where you find Jin. And you need a solid front line so that he can even cast. So, defensive items are infinitely more important in this comp than best in slot. And generally, defensive items are better, but there are cases where best in slot does kind of matter. Like for Lux, when I play her without a blue buff, it feels like ass. So, it just depends comp to comp, who you're playing, what carry you're going for, what items you get, but you can never go wrong with going for defensive items for any comp. Alright, now I'm rolling a bit to try to hit MF2. I'll pick up any random 4 costs that I see, and 3 costs. Here I found Jin, so I'm gonna pick him up, but I'm not gonna play him yet because there's no space for him on the board, and he's only 1 star, so it's not like he's gonna do much, honestly. And since I didn't focus on items for him, I don't really have like anything to put on him. So yeah, I'm not in a rush to play him at all, especially because I'm not close to dying or anything like that. Alright, now I finally got an MF2. Last round I rolled all the way to 10 gold to try to get an MF2 because that is what's gonna stabilize you until you get to level 8. So having an MF2 is kind of important in stage 4, as well as upgraded frontline, which I do have with Mundo and Alawi. Having Mundo 2-star right now is pretty huge. Also, I noticed that the Katerina abuser just hit 3-star Katerina, so now I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that guy and Zephyr his Katerina every time, or else my MF is just gonna get destroyed. And yeah, basically when you're playing against some bullshit like that, you need to just build a Zephyr or a Trap Claw, and then try to corner your units or something. But that's not always the best positioning against every single player in the lobby, so it does get annoying playing against people like that. Also, rolling at 7, you're likely to hit MF3 eventually, just like naturally, because no one really tries to go for MF3. So just hold on to her if you see her in your shop. MF being 3-star is also going to help you against assassins, because then she won't be one shot, and if she can just get one cast off, an MF3 ult will do pretty big damage to these assassins, and then the bruisers can finish them off because assassins aren't tanky, right? So MF just needs to cast like one time before she dies, hopefully. And at 3 star, her damage is pretty insane. So just keep that in mind as one of your win conditions if you see a lot of MFs. She's definitely worth itemizing at least 2 items. If you're playing bodyguards, you can try for 3 star Leona. If you're playing bruisers, you can do 3 star Zac. But honestly, Zac is not really, I don't know, he's not really important to 3 star in my opinion. His only purpose is to CC assassins, and that's it. But MF3 should be the goal if you're just rolling on 7 or perma 7 because you're about to die. If you can go 8, then go 8 and roll for Jins and MFs at level 8. Okay, so on this carousel, I'm definitely gonna grab the Tahm Kench because he is definitely better than a 1 cost Alawi. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go for because all the defensive items are taken anyway, and Tahm Kench is just gonna be a lifesaver against a comp like Katerina Ionic Spark. And so now I'm gonna sell Alawi and transfer the items to Mundo because he is a 4 cost and he is 2 star. Otherwise I would put them on TK, but he's fine as is for now. So now my board is pretty much capped except for like Vi and Zac upgrade, which is not important. So yeah, my goal is to get to level 8 now without losing too much HP. Okay, let's take a look at this round. So this guy is playing Mercs and his board is like full of 1 stars even though he rolled down to like 20 gold. See, that should never happen. If you're rolling that much gold, you are bound to hit pairs, like multiple pairs. So there should be no reason that your board is full of 1 stars like this. If you don't know how to roll down and hold units, regardless of synergies, then you should not be playing Mercs because you're never gonna cash out like that. And we saw on his bench, he basically didn't have anything, really. So he rolled all that gold and didn't buy anything, so what was the point of that? Um, but yeah, you'll just players in Diamond and Master, like they do this shit all the time. They just hard focus one synergy or on the units that go into their final comp and just ignore everybody else in the shop and then just say, oh, bad game, low roll game, bad game. But like it's not that. um they just didn't know, they just didn't buy anything, they spent gold and didn't buy anything. So I mean, I'm not saying I'm the best TFT player because I'm obviously not, but like I usually have a good early and mid game, and my weakness is my late game because I just like get complacent because of how much HP I have, and then I start making mistakes or like not paying attention to things when I should. Um, but yeah, I usually have so much HP that I'll top 4 no matter what because a lot of players just don't know how to play the mid and early game. But yeah, even look at this guy. He's trying to play Trundle carry. He has best in slot, but he's perma stuck level 6 slow rolling for Trundle. His Trundle's 1 star and he's still forcing this bruiser carry comp. And it's just see what I mean? People just do this all the time where they just like hard tunnel on something. They don't buy other units. Like look at his bench. It's just scrap and bruiser, that's it. So what the hell is he gonna do when he doesn't hit Trundle 3? Because it's already going into stage 5 and his Trundle was 1 star. He just hit Trundle 2 star right now. That is so terrible to force like that. If you're gonna play a 2 star carry at a 2 cost carry and you're going into stage 5 barely hitting it at 2 star, it's just so bad, and not holding anything else on your bench. to pivot into if something like that happened. See, that's what I mean by I see this all the time in Diamond and Master in every freaking lobby. There's somebody doing this type of shit. Like people just only holding and tunneling on the synergies and the units for the comp that they're playing, and then they end up like that. So, I mean, it is what it is. Free LP, I guess. And people do this shit in Masters. Like, it's not even hard to hit Master because people just troll like this and hard tunnel on hard force comps, or they basically int their early and mid game, so you're just guaranteed the top 4 if you know how to play your strongest board. Alright, now I'm level 8, so I'm gonna roll for my Jin 2. I'm probably gonna roll to like 30 gold every round, um, or more, depending on how strong the lobby is. If the lobby is pretty strong and I need that Jin 2, I'm gonna roll to like 10 gold if I need it. If I need to hit it. But this guy is like the second strongest person in the lobby right now. He's on a win streak, and I beat him, so I don't need to roll too much, I think. My MF is doing really well, and I hit him naturally this round, so that's always good. And if you noticed, I didn't go for offensive items on the carousel, I just went for tank items. I naturally just got this Hurricane and Giant Slayer. I think his best in slot is like Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, and Hurricane or something. Something for the third item, maybe BT, but it doesn't matter. Like any extra swords and bows, you just throw it on him and he's good to go. And then on the next carousel, I'll look for his third item. Also, if you are really not rolling any gens, you can put your items onto Urgot, but then I kind of don't like doing that because then you kind of need a Hurricane on her, or else Urgot is just not as good as Jin, in my opinion. Um, but if you have to, you can do that, and then you can put the AP items from MF onto Jinx. If you happen to get a 2-star Kaisa somehow rolling down at 8, you can put the AP items on MF onto Kaisa, and then put the AD items onto Yone or something like that, and just play like challengers. Um, that's just like if you can't get Jin for some reason. If you get the extra Innovator augment, then you can play him with the Innovator Dragon, and then you can have Jace in the backline because every time Jace ults, he opens the Hex Gate, giving Jin some attack speed. So that's also another variation of Jin I like to play. So here I backlined my Mundo because I wanted to Zephyr either Urgot or Jinx, and I got Jinx. So I think I just end up winning this round because if Jinx doesn't cast, then it's just no threat to my backline with Urgot comp. So at level 8, once your board is capped like this, you should just be scouting and positioning. At this point you have a couple of options. One of them is just to go 9 and put in Yumi or Orianna for Clockwork. Or you can roll right now at 8 and try to get 8 Jin 3 and MF3. It just depends on your lobby if you can go 9 or not, how strong people are. But usually people start spiking at this point, and it's safer to just stay 8 and roll. Um, unless you're already really close to 9 because you have some kind of econ augment. You can just roll, feed Tahm Kench, try to get your upgrades at level 8. I still have 3 mercs in, I can always take out Quinn and put in something better. So like, since I have the 2 sniper augment, I'm gonna put in this Kog'Maw for now instead of Janna. And then here I saw Katerina was at the corner, so I tried to move my Zephyr to the corner, but it didn't go through, so I was too slow. So I'm gonna end up dying this round because I was too slow moving my Zephyr. um, which is unfortunate, but you get the idea. You just need to scout and Zephyr people's carries. Honestly, it was still pretty close considering I missed a Zephyr, but yeah, that means if I hit the Zephyr, it would not be close at all, probably. Um, but you see how long Mundo survived? That's why I think that unit is kind of busted. This game, the Socialite Hex is at the front, so I can just put my Zephyr over there and it'll just be a good Zephyr every single time, usually. Or I could put it in the middle front and Zephyr their main tank. That's always good as well. Building a Zephyr is just solid in this meta, especially against assassins and just... I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Zephyr is just good in every situation. If you can build one, just build one, I guess. Alright, so now we're up against this guy, and he's basically playing the exact same thing I am, except instead of Jhin, he has Urgot. And it's just... Jhin is better. It's just not even close. Jhin is just better than Urgot. Maybe if Urgot had a third item, but even then, I don't know. I think Jhin is just so much better, especially after they nerfed Urgot last patch. I just don't see a reason to play her. So, yeah, even though she synergizes with Mundo and Zac for Chemtech, I think Jhin just deals with backline and just everybody better. Just a way better unit. Alright, so now on this round we got a Shojin, which is pretty useless. I could put it on TK so he can eat people faster, but I have a Reforger, so I'm gonna try to reforge something better, and hopefully it is a Jhin item. But as you can see, he's already doing plenty without a third item, and I didn't even focus on items for him. So yeah. Let's reforge this Shojin, and we got a Zeke's Herald. It has a sword in it, so I'm gonna put it on Jhin. Like I said, his items don't matter. Just put whatever on him for his third item. You can even go something defensive like Bramble or Declaw if you want. If you're playing against like a lot of Luxes, you can put a Declaw on him for his third item. So you don't need to focus on like his best in slot, as I've been saying this whole game. I'm gonna keep rolling down because people are dying and there's kind of no point holding gold if I can make my board stronger with like a TK2 or something. And I don't think there's enough time to go 9. These people are probably gonna die before then. So I'm just gonna keep rolling and scouting and whatever. So for the next round, I did end up Zephyring Katerina, but the Akali was too much. Ended up just one-shotting my entire backline. So yeah, that's when I started rolling for MFs, basically, because I started panicking. But yeah, it's still kind of close, like 2 unit loss. So it's not like horrible. Oh, only 1 unit loss again. It's Mundo that never dies, as usual. So now I either have to get an MF3 or a Jhin 3, and then just like position for that guy when I know I'm against him. But next round I know I'm not because I just played against him. So I'm just gonna keep rolling for now. And I'm gonna stop trolling with Mercs because the game's gonna end. So I'm gonna put Jason to give Jhin the extra attack speed. And I'm also gonna move my Zephyr to where the Socialite Hex is and get rid of their Lissandra. So this round is pretty much a win. I'm sure of it because Lissandra got Zephyred. And even if I die, oh shit, I died. Oh, actually, no, I'm fine. She did get my Jin and MF, but I still had Kate and Cog on the other side, so that worked out. Okay, so stage 6 carousel now. I don't really need anything for Jin. He's full items now. I'm gonna go for something defensive. And this guy took the Titans I wanted, so I'm just gonna get this vest so I can make a Titans on Tom Kench. And now we're just back to rolling, feeding Tom Kench. When you roll down, just pick up the 4 costs to take them out of the pool and increase your odds of hitting the one that you need. Even though I'm not hitting the one that I need right now. I'm just getting unlucky, I guess. I don't know. But it's also because people died already, so there are a lot of 4 costs in the pool. Alright, so this round we're against the Lissandra player again, and we beat them every single time, so now I'm just watching the other guy I'm against. That's against my ghost. And for some reason, I lost against the Lissandra player this time, and I also lost against this other player, so now I'm panicking because they got strong all of a sudden. Now I just need to roll down and hit like MF3 or Jin 3 somehow, um, because it's just not looking good. And I just rolled past an MF because I'm panicking too much, I guess. But I just end up hitting it anyway, so it's whatever. This assassin guy moved his Akali to the socialite hex this round, so she got Zephyred and we were able to beat her. So yeah, also MF3 does help a lot, like especially with these items. She definitely almost did as much damage as Jin, so MF3 definitely is a win condition. I'm pretty sure she killed Akali with just 1 cast, so it's definitely really strong at 3-star. And okay, now we got a blue buff. I'm gonna put it on Tom Kench so that he can eat somebody right away. Since we just faced that assassin guy, next round we're gonna go against the Lissandra person, either their ghost or their actual little legend, so we can just position for that board next round. And we don't have much gold, but can try rolling a little bit, I guess. And I'm gonna use my magnetic remover to take the Zephyr off of the Mundo in case I need to put it on somebody else to get a last second Zephyr, even though honestly I kind of suck at doing that because I used to play on mobile, so I'm not really good at like Zephyring people. I just ended up putting it back on Mundo, which yeah, don't question it. I definitely should have moved my Jin and MF to the other side so that they don't get blasted by Lissandra. So yeah, that was my bad, and we end up losing this round, but it's fine because the assassin guy actually took care of him. So yeah, now we know for sure next round we're playing against the assassin player, and I am just gonna frontline all my carries and then backline Tom Kench so that he can eat Akali or whomever goes over there, and also backline Mundo. It's also pretty convenient that I have target dummies because that will keep them busy for a bit for my Jin to finally cast. And I tried to Zephyr Akali because I saw her at that corner, but I missed it again because I just suck at Zephyring people. Like, I know I'm supposed to like hover their board and then put the Zephyr at the last second, but I just don't like the fact that now they show you like hovering their board and stuff. So like I just troll, I guess. But we still win anyway because of positioning and stuff against assassins. And we're playing Zac to deal with assassins. We're playing not Mundo. We're playing Tom Kench with a blue buff to eat the assassin, and we're also playing Mundo with a Bramble vest. Bramble is always good for assassins, as well as having 2 3 stars so they don't immediately get one shot. But yeah, that's it for this game. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace. Also, sorry again for my voice, I'm still sick, so if you watched to this point, then thanks for watching. Alright, now peace.